These football stars hate each other, and before you say hate is such a strong word, let's see what you would feel when your fucking teammate has a one-night stand with your girlfriend. That kind of betrayal would warrant a high level of hate, don't you think? Hate is exactly what Kevin De Bruyne felt when he knew about the affair between his girlfriend and his Belgian teammate Thibaut Courtois. This was De Bruyne's childhood friend from the years at Genk and now national team goalkeeper. Someone he trusted to keep the opponent at bay, but instead was keeping his girl warm in bed. Fucking crazy. De Bruyne's girlfriend, Carolina Leinen, admitted herself to having a fling with Courtois, but insisted it happened only after Kevin cheated on her. According to her, in the summer of 2012, Kevin told me that he had an affair with my old best friend. Our relationship was never the same afterward. But how did dear Caroline respond? The ancient cold dish of revenge was too tempting not to serve, especially with a head chef like Thibaut. Thibaut gave me that one night what I'd sorely missed for 3 years with Kevin. With Thibaut I could have good conversations, and he also cooked nicely for me. Such a thing Kevin never did, and then suddenly we clicked. Thibaut, the fucking chef in shining armor. Gordon Ramsay should take recipes from this guy on how to destroy friendships of many years. We find it hard to understand how you left all the millions of beautiful ladies who would throw themselves at you without thinking, and were only interested in sleeping with your teammate's girl. Even though he hid it well, De Bruyne was pissed. He mentioned the betrayal in his autobiography, Keep It Simple, saying, "Although I can still not believe what Courtois has done, we continue to work together professionally." Trust De Bruyne to be selfless to his teammates, unlike somebody who loves to cook. Belgium's coach at the time understood how much De Bruyne hated Thibaut and even asked him if Thibaut should be sent away from the national team. But De Bruyne didn't allow his hatred for one person to destroy the team, so he told the coach to allow the goalkeeper to stay. Someone who couldn't stay in the same club with his teammate was Oguchi Onu. USMNT's strongest defender proved to be more than enough for Zlatan Ibrahimovic back in 2010 at AC Milan. Onyewu got into an argument when he felt the challenge from Zlatan was more than it should be. They started saying things that probably shouldn't be said to one another. When these two men with huge egos clashed, it was not shocking that it became physical, and other teammates around had to jump in to separate them. This training bust-up was so famous that it made national headlines. Onyewu eventually left the club at the end of the season. When Zlatan documented the details of the event in his book, he remembered it as Onyewu charging at him like a heavyweight boxer, and claimed that the big defender even broke his ribs in the altercation. He even believed that if the team didn't break up the fight, one of them would have died. The problem with this is that Onyewu says Zlatan has conveniently told some lies about that event in his book. Onyewu wouldn't point out the lies. For one, we know it's not because he fears the Zlatan. His major reason is that he doesn't want to put salt in a wound. Thank goodness this guy is not Salt Bae. Talking about keeping it fucking salty. Welcome Alf-Inge Haaland, who raised his son to enact his vengeance on Manchester United, the beloved club of Roy Keane, the man who caused his early retirement from football. Yeah, that's Dead Sea kind of salty. We know Roy Keane is one of the feistiest players in Premier League history. Players that he has had issues with can be listed without much stress. But if you want those that absolutely fucking hate his guts, and obviously anything he stands for, you can look no further than Haaland's dad, Alf-Inge. The conflict started in 1997. Keane had injured himself while trying to get the ball from Alf-Inge. Alf-Inge felt Keane was faking an injury to avoid a bucking, so he stood over Keane and criticized him while he was still on the ground. Keane had actually injured his ACL. This injury stopped him from playing football for over a year. By 2001, Alf-Inge was in Man City colours against Man U, and Keane would make a disgusting tackle for Alf-Inge's left knee. Standing over the injured Norwegian, an unremorseful Keane spits this fucking venom. Take that, you cunt. Don't ever stand over me again sneering about fake injuries, and tell your pal Weatherall there's some for him as well. Alfinger would go on to play other matches, but he never really recovered from the injury. He retired 2 years later. Years later, we discover that the hate was still real. As Keane wrote in his autobiography, he pissed me off, shooting his mouth off. He was an absolute pussy to play against. Niggling, sneaky. In a 2003 interview, Alfinger said concerning the tackle, "Did that tackle end my career? Well, I never played a full game again, did I?" Keane then said, "There are things I regret in my life, and he's, Haaland, not one of them." Alfinger must have thought, surely there is more than one way to hurt Keane, and probably the best way. He trained his son Haaland to become one of the deadliest strikers Premier League has ever seen. Found a way to get him to Man City, and in his first Manchester derby, the boy would score a hat-trick. That is some sweet revenge. Alfinger is definitely having the last laugh. Having a last laugh against a racist person must be one of the best feelings in the world. And Didier Zokora must have felt fucking elated when justice was served. During a game in April 2012, Zokora and Emre Belözoğlu were saying stuff to each other, and it caused Emre to throw a racial slur at Zokora in front of the referee. According to Zokora, Emre called him a fucking gun. Zokora goes on to say, "What does the color of our skin matter? Fans, FIFA, the press are all against racist statements. I hope something like this doesn't go unpunished." Zokora had hoped Emre would be properly punished for that action, but he instead was given just a 3-game ban. Emre already had a series of accusations of racism towards many other players while he played in England, although he was never convicted. A few weeks after the incident with Zokora, the two clubs will meet again. This time, Zokora's Trabzonspor teammates were ready to break Emre. From the start of the match, Zokora refused to shake hands with Emre, and it was anarchy from then on. Zokora's teammates delivered kicks, tackles, and pain to Emre anytime he was on the ball. Finally, Emre would be seen grabbing his balls while rolling around on the ground after a collision with Zokora. 2 years after the initial incident, Emre became the first Turkish footballer to be hit with a suspended 2.5-month prison sentence for a racist crime. While Zokora may have found justice eventually, no justice would be enough for Wayne Bridge to make him stop hating former Chelsea and England teammate John Terry due to allegations of Terry having an affair with Bridge's former partner, Vanessa Parencel, in 2009. Terry is reported to have gotten Parencel pregnant, with Parencel having an abortion. Terry had tried to keep the affair a secret, but by the time he woke up the next day, the papers had carried the news. Vanessa herself denied the allegations, claiming they were just friends. Bridge refused to shake Terry's hand during the pre-match ritual between Chelsea and Manchester City. In the subsequent matches too, there weren't any handshakes or a sign of reconciliation. Terry was seen as a shitty human being by everyone around the world, except of course Chelsea fans, and the England captaincy was stripped from him. Bridge decided he had had enough of playing for England and ended his 36-cap England career. Terry would eventually become England's captain again, while Bridge retired from football after loan spells at various clubs. Years later, he would say, "The most disappointing aspect of it all is that I'm probably more famous for not shaking someone's hand than I am for playing football. I get abuse walking down the street. I still don't think anyone knows the full story." According to reports, these two are still not on speaking terms. Two people that didn't even bother to speak to one another while they played together were Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole. It was clear they did not care to share their God-given ability to make human sounds with each other. Talk about keeping it professional. These two didn't want to catch a case of workplace verbal harassment. Brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. The fallout came in 1995 when Cole made his England debut, coming on as a substitute for Sheringham. During their 4 years together at Old Trafford, Cole thought that Sheringham ignored him on the touchline and never expressed regret for his behaviour. The two also never communicated off the field. It is understandable how a heavy betrayal can cause hate to grow in a person's heart, but it's also crazy how a little occurrence could spark such a long conflict, when it could have been easily solved and forgotten. Spread love, subscribe, and check out our next video.